Alrighty, so it is time for another professional match of StarCraft 2, and what I got for you today is a Protoss versus Terran played on Black-Pink LE. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map and playing with the red Terran SCVs, we have none other than TY. And his opponent in the cross position of this map and playing with the blue Protoss probes, he goes by the nickname of Stats. Now indeed, both of these guys are on the exact same team. Them together with Solar actually make up, together with the three of them, one of the very best StarCraft 2 teams right now in Team Splice. Interestingly enough, it's one of the very best teams, even though they only have 3 players. But I guess if you hire the very best in their respective races, or at the very least close to it, you're definitely ending up to be one of the very best teams in SC2 right from the get-go. And like I mentioned actually in the previous video as well, Splice recently announced that they are indeed re-signing all 3 of them, so Solar, TY and Stats, for 2018 as well, so we are bound to see a lot more matches from all 3 of these guys. They are very good at what they do, and I think today we are in for a treat, because of course if you are on the same team, oftentimes when you're not necessarily living together, right, and I don't actually know what the living situation of these guys is right now, they may very well be playing in the exact same team house, but regardless, when you're not living together, you're probably still going to be practicing against each other very, very regularly. So we may very well be seeing a little bit of a mind game here from either of these players. Now, there's no denying, though, that Terran vs. Protoss has been a little bit rough recently for Terran players. It went heavily in favor of Protoss for a little bit of time after the balance patch 4.0 was indeed released. It meant that all of a sudden Terran had to deal with the very quick chrono boost, but obviously since then we have seen nerfs to both the Oracle, we have seen nerfs to, for example, chrono boost as well, or not necessarily a nerf, but a bit of a change of pace that doesn't allow Protoss to necessarily boost out units nearly as quickly anymore, but still get a lot of benefit from the upgrade over time, or from the push, of course, from the chrono boost build time. They're still going to be able to get the benefits of it over time, but rushes are not nearly as powerful as they used to be. I mean, it's just a matter of seconds, but those couple of seconds are, very important for a Terran player, because it means, for example, having 2 more Marines out, or for example, having that additional Cyclone out as well. TY so far opening up with a quick tech lab right here on the barracks. He may very well go for the switch over, or he can of course start producing Marauders. And it's actually a timing push that I've seen TY do a little bit as of late with Cyclones and with Marauders. It's actually a really cool push. I'm pretty sure it's safe against most of the builds that Protoss players can go for, and so far we do indeed now see that second Stalker coming in here for stats. Probably a robotics facility. There indeed we do see the Robo going down here for stats as well. But this Cyclone Marauder push is actually really cool because it can deal a lot of damage, and I think that it's safe even if your opponent is going to be going for example, an Oracle. I mean, Cyclones are pretty good. Technically speaking, the very first Oracle could already be getting inside of the main base of the Terran player right now. At the 3-minute mark, if you chrono boost it out, you can actually get it out right now, and obviously TY didn't go for any scouting whatsoever, so it's still a little bit risky to go for a build that, doesn't really give you any kind of anti-air whatsoever. But I think that it's a pretty cool little setup here to go for that push out with 2 Marauders, a single Cyclone, and a single Marine as well. The thing is, a lot of Protoss players recently have been opening up with Blink Stalkers, and it seems like Stats may very well be doing something similar as well. He's getting his Twilight Council, and he's immediately jumping into the Observer as well. Concussive Shells will be finishing up, but at this point in the game, there's not going to be a Marauder counter just yet here for Stats. I mean, he's got a handful of Stalkers, but they will go down really quickly, and here we go. TY going for the first little bit of aggression in this particular match. Oh man, all of these units though get just simply countered by the Cyclone and then also the Marauder. They are very good at cleaning up buildings as well as probes. Here we go, we're going to be seeing a little bit of back and forth micro. Indeed, using that stutter step there to his advantage to get a couple of those probe kills as well. Probes, of course, pretty scary, but look at the amount of damage that these units are already dealing. I love this tiny little move. I think that's indeed another Cyclone now joining this party as well. And look at the speed at which they take out buildings. They all deal a lot of damage to armored units, and of course, structures are going to go down in just a matter of seconds. An Immortal, however, is now finishing up as well. I think that one is going to be absolutely crucial. Nexus is now also getting target fired, and it actually loses HP very rapidly. But there we go. The Immortal just looks at that Marauder twice, fires it guns, and will indeed be able to clean that up very, very rapidly. You do still have to be careful though if you're going up against concussive shells, but eventually all of these Protoss units will be able to deal with the Terrans once, and TY will be deflected here for the time being, but not without at the very least taking 5 of those probes to the grave as well. He's been using this little bit of time that he created for himself to now transition towards a third command center. And actually, looks like the last Cyclone will be caught as well, interestingly enough. That Immortal once again looked at it twice and then it died. I love the strength of Marauders though, and this or of Immortals though, and I guess this may very well open up a bit of an opportunity to go for a potential counterattack as well. Nicely timed though, that bunker at the front will probably deflect any kind of critical damage, but now that Blink Stalkers are of course out on the map, Stats is going to be able to micro back and forth if he wants to. He just needs to be careful against, of course, the concussive shell. Now, judging by these buildings that are currently going on, look at that. Double Forge as well as double Engineering Bay. I think we may very well be transitioning towards a bit of a macro game. Third Command Center is now morphing into an Orbital Command. Stalkers once again going for a bit of a push as well. Third Nexus now also being taken here by our Protoss player. And both players indeed are, you know, they're posturing. They are threatening each other a little bit here and there. They are trying to figure out what it is exactly they are going up against. But for the most part, this now seems to be a game where both of them are going to try and sit back for a little bit of time and get themselves a handful of upgrades. Stimpack just about to finish up here for our Terran player. Wouldn't be surprised to see the combat shield follow up here very, very shortly. He's now also getting himself the +1/+1 upgrades. And at the exact same time though, on the other side of the map, we see the double upgrade coming in here for Stats. And of course, if he decides to use Chrono Boost on that, he can finish up those upgrades significantly faster than his opponent. I mean, the Chrono Boost, of course, still gives you 50% additional production for 20 seconds, compared to the 100% additional production for 10 seconds. It doesn't allow Protoss to push nearly as greedily as they used to with like Oracles, you know, at the beginning of the patch, but they're still going to be able to finish up these kind of upgrades very rapidly. If Stats decides to indeed start Chrono Boosting this out continuously, he can set himself up for a really nice timing attack. And so far, we may very well be seeing something along those lines, because Stats is adding on more and more gateways. Charge is just about to finish up. However, this observer is now also scouting that there is indeed a lot of Terran currently moving. I think that we may actually see a push here as well from Terran. Now that 1-1 is just about halfway or so done. He's going to be going for a single missile turret here to deflect any kind of pressure here from his opponent. For example, with a War Prism, that one will be deflected very easily. Combat shield though, about halfway done. 1-1 is just about to finish up as well, and apparently Terran is indeed going to go for a little bit of a move out as well, leaving the siege tanks behind though for the time being. Speaking of which though, we now also see the next counter already coming in. I love this. I mean, TY hasn't even scouted the Twilight Council or the Templar Archives just yet, rather, but he's already adding on the Ghost Academy. That's such a cheeky move, right? The Ghost Academy is absolutely crucial. If you get caught off guard against Storm, you can easily lose all of your units, but just by simply being an absolute boss at the Terran units, he's going to be able to figure out what it's going up against, or what he is going up against, just by simply looking at his opponent's army composition and knowing the timings of this matchup very, very well. Still though, of course, Stats is just simply playing a macro-focused style. Look at that. Rather than even pressuring off of 3 bases, he's just immediately transitioning towards that 4th Nexus, it looks like, as well. And the 4th Nexus does indicate that he wants to play a very macro-focused style. At the same time though, on the other side of the map, the 4th Command Center is already halfway done. TY also giving his opponent that respect that he deserves, just simply sitting back, trying to macro up a very large force. I wonder though, what exactly the plan here is for the Protoss player. I mean, he's got a lot of scary units already. Stats has been absolutely dominating in the Terran versus Protoss matchup, but I haven't quite seen him this passive in quite a little bit of time. I mean, he's really not pushing out across the map, just simply giving his opponent all the time in the world to pretty much do whatever he wants. Stargate now coming in as well here for Stats, and finally the War Prism has loaded up those High Templar that now have the Ascendant skin, and that means that they're gonna be quite mobile, and Protoss is gonna start making a move across the map. The amount of gateways done right now will rapidly increase the amount of supply available here for the Protoss player. He will confirm that there is no base here near the northern end of the map, but he may very well still be pushing down this ramp. But there are already Liberators now in position as well, and I think this is going to be a very tricky fight to take for the Protoss player. Look at that. Whew. Still getting a couple of those units. Oh, beautiful EMPs actually going down there, trying to deflect, of course, some of those shields on those units. But of course, if you have the War Prism loaded up with the High Templar, right, it's pretty difficult to EMP that, but it makes it significantly more snipeable as well. So this is going to be a back and forth between the Ghosts as well as this War Prism that contains the High Templar. Even Phoenix is now coming in here. Actually, a couple of ghosts or a couple of cannons going down here as well at the 4th base location. A few SCVs will end up dying here, but so far, I mean, the defenses have been spot on for TY. Planetary Fortress is going to deflect this push once again, and while we almost saw the kill right there on a missile turret, it will live to fight another day as a single SCV is hard at work, having one of his claws already containing a couple of those minerals as well. He will be able to repair this structure up once again, and while I mean, Stets is desperately trying to look for an engagement here, his opponent is really not giving it. Now, there are a lot of ghosts going down. Look at this. This is something we haven't really seen very much. 3 ghosts now on the production tab. I mean, how many are there already? There's actually 3 out already. Normally, we see a handful of them. But this is going to be a pretty heavy ghost-based army. Now, ghosts are very expensive. I would love to see a nuke as well. So far, not seeing anything along those lines just yet. But here we go. We may very well be in for the first major engagement in this game. Liberators, though, and of course, siege tanks are trying to get the most out of the scenario. But the snipe on the War Prism is crucial there. Only a single High Templar managed to drop out. And all of a sudden, TY is finding himself in a brilliant position, because he does not have to deal with any of his opponent's splash damage anymore. He may very well pounce at this opportunity, realizing that the High Templar were indeed in there. A couple of those force fields will deflect this Terran army from advancing here for a little while longer, but this is a very scary army here to deal with. A few High Templar, though, coming in from the north. They will be able to get a couple of these ghosts as well, using the feedback to their advantage. A nice little bit of micro back and forth between the High Templar and, of course, the ghosts. But still, more and more ghosts are coming out. There's 2 still available here on the map. How many High Templars do we see currently? Only 2 of those, and that's another Archon going down as well. The Tempest Switch now being in full swing here for Stats. So he's going to try and deal with these Liberators from a distance, and I think that is a very smart choice, because the Liberator count is getting out of control already. 12 Liberators and only 30 Marines at this point in the game. There's actually a lot more Liberators than there are Marauders out right now, even more so than Medevacs. Obviously, the longer that this goes on, right, the scarier this can become as well. But Terran is going for a very interesting army composition. Both players are now maxed out, and we see more and more ghosts coming in. I think we may very well see a clash. Come on, dude. Like, we do see a couple of Zealots now going for the run-by as well, and that's all fine and dandy. That will be deflected. But you're maxed out right now. You should really get a really get a nuke. One time, TY. I know pro gamers usually don't make nukes. Wait, I say that. He's gonna go for the research upgrade here for that additional ghost energy. That's pretty nice and dandy. Once again, though, a couple of these ghosts will be caught off guard. It will cloak just barely in the nick of time. Liberators once again going for their anti-ground mode as well. I think if he's going for... he's going for more ghost academies. Is he gonna build 3 nukes? I would love to see that. Zealots, though, still being a little bit of a nuisance right here. This is just Stats throwing away a bunch of his minerals and actually doing a great job at exactly that, because he's gonna slow down his Terran opponent quite a bit. This does mean, of course, that we will see a lot of these SCVs going down, and these Zealots just being an absolute pain in the butt for the Terran player to deal with right now. At the very least, preventing any kind of counterattacks, and then, of course, at the same time, buying a lot of time here as well for this entire left-hand side of the map to be taken by our Protoss player. This is what I was looking out for. The nuke is being produced. I have not seen a nuke in a professional game since probably Scarlet in the GSL. Scarlet, I don't know exactly who her opponent was anymore. I think it was Gumiho, maybe? I'm not entirely sure, but essentially her opponent knew that she was playing without headphones on. So he ended up going for nukes just because she couldn't hear the fact that apparently the nuclear launch was detected. A pretty smart move if you know that your opponent is playing without headphones on. Bit of a cheeky one as well. Regardless, though, Liberators now trying to make their way towards the top left-hand corner of the map, trying to kill non-existent probes. I guess they're not going to be all too helpful right there just yet. But 3 nukes are just about to finish up here for the Terran player. How many ghosts are there? There's 8 ghosts available right now and 12 High Templar. This is going to be some really cute micro here back and forth between the players. EMPs are going to be absolutely crucial. First nuke, however, is now being thrown up here in the natural expansion of the Protoss player, and this one will be completely unscouted. Nuke's definitely one of the most underutilized units in the game, one of the most underutilized abilities as well, and there we go. 14 probes for a single nuke is most definitely value. That gives you so much money. Here we go! EMP going down actually on most of these High Templar. Only a couple of storms are now available. There's all of a sudden and forces the Terran player to stim forward as well. He's going to try and make sure that he cleans up as many of these Tempests in the sky as well. Still, though, the storms deal so much damage. Not every single last of these was indeed taken care of. Luckily here for Stats, he managed to keep some of those storms available, because that could have absolutely been game-ending damage there. Still, though, I like this one a lot. TY currently sitting at a comfortable 83 Harvesters versus only 54 probes. Stats at this point in the game is once again forced to make new probes, which is usually not quite what you want to see if you are the Protoss player at this point in the match. Still, Stats has a very menacing army. He is still maxed out, and he still has a lot of units. Another nuke will indeed be planted down there just to try and, you know, force this Protoss player out of position. That storm, though, dealing so much damage. Now, we do see more and more Archons being morphed in, so that means that we probably won't be seeing all too many storms anymore in this particular match. And while TY is trying to make the most out of the nukes that he's throwing up, he is not quite dealing with this maxed out Protoss army just yet. And this is a scary force. Even without the High Templar Storm, this is an army that can do a lot of damage. Archons and Immortals, of course, still gonna be able to pile on the damage. SCVs forced off the line as well. But here are the reinforcements. More and more Zealot and Stalkers are joining in this party as well. A single siege tank trying to fire away at this force from the third base location. But TY is not having enough units to deal with all of this Protoss aggression that he is going up against. Massive storms once again going down. They're absolutely massacring all of these Terran units and Stats, even though he had to deal with nukes. I mean, it's pretty good. I think they definitely got him a lot of value. But even though he had to deal with a bunch of these nukes, he still obtains the victory absolutely brilliantly. Really well played by Stats, playing it slow and steady, because apparently that wins the race. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. Other than that, though, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day, okay? Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one.